We are back. That is Markets Today. Today we are hosting Madam Esther Muchemi. She's giving us the investment practitioner's perspective. What does it mean to be an investor in Kenya? What should you look out for? Madam Esther, just before we took a break, you were telling us, what do all the great investors do? What do they benefit from their businesses? And what does success look like for you?
For you to be a successful entrepreneur, the first thing you have to accept is entrepreneurship is about identifying a problem and putting out resources to give a solution to the society. And by so doing, you are taking a risk to solve a problem that is in the society.
Okay.
Yet, having said that, money will come.
Okay.
But for me, money is a byproduct of success.
Wow.
It is not what must drive you, especially initially. And this is what I always say today because I can speak, that by the time you see an entrepreneur, an investor who is serious in investing, rewarding themselves, perhaps by driving a good car or living in a good house, you must celebrate that entrepreneur.
Okay.
Because by the time he does that, he has paid all his employers, he has paid the bank, and you know the interests are not very friendly.
That's true.
He has paid his creditors, and you know he has also paid the taxman.
Oh wow!
So
that's a lot of stakeholders,
isn't
who
it?
need
So
to be paid.
we need to learn to celebrate entrepreneurs.
Wow.
Because they come because and they become because of what we talked earlier on, a life of sacrifices.
Interesting when you've talked about resources.
Yes.
So there's always this conversation, is debt good, is debt bad? How do you fund your investment? Because when you're looking at an investment as an entrepreneur, I want to imagine the dynamics are slightly different if I'm looking at me investing in your company. Because for example, today, if you give your money to the government of Kenya, Madam Esther, you earn 9.7% in 1 year. If you give it to them for 15 years, you earn 12.6%. And that's really, you're saying risk-free. The risk of losing this money it's negligent. But then if I took debt at 14% to fund this, it wouldn't make sense. Is it different if you're the one who's running your business?
Is it different in terms of returns? Remember, you are always gabbling and risking and minimize the risks and all that. But let me tell you, and you see, how you hold your capital,
yes.
I would not say that my investment today is very diversified.
Okay.
I'll tell you, I am in business, I am in real estate, I am cash.
Yes.
I have cash somewhere in the
Yes.
bank. It may not be a lot, but
Yes.
I have cash somewhere in the
Okay.
bank. I invest in stock exchange.
Oh,
yes,
wow.
yes, I am there.
Should I ask you what stocks, or is that
Sorry?
secret? Is that a family jewel?
Not really,
Yes.
not really.
Wow.
For example, I'm an investor in Safaricom.
Okay.
It's out there, it's
Okay.
in public.
Fantastic.
You get what I mean?
Yes.
And let me tell you, my first 1 million,
Yes.
I actually made it by trading in shares.
Are you serious? You're
Yes,
a stockbroker?
To be honest, yeah. However,
wow.
I don't do it today
Okay.
as an everyday activity of making money, and that is a personal position
All
that
right.
I have taken.
Okay.
I will use it as a way of diversification.
Okay.
But yes, I
So-
do it. Yes, I do it.
Okay, that's very interesting to
Yes.
hear.
However, let me also tell you this, that because of being so much an entrepreneur, and that's me again.
Yes.
You are talking of 9.7 and celebrating the 9.7 or the 12.7. Let me tell you, when I do my business, I have a probability of making that percent.
Oh, wow. Oh, wow.
I have a probability of making that percent
Okay.
or 50%
Okay.
over the 1 shilling that I invest in my business.
That's very
and
good.
those are the calculated risk analysis that entrepreneurs do. And therefore, every person must know, where do I want to put my shilling? For me, let me tell you, my first place of putting my shilling is actually in business.
Yes.
The latest company in our business is called Samchi Digital. It's
Okay.
about 6 months old. And when I started it, I was doing it for purposes of our in-house, because we realized with 9 companies and digital marketing taking the place it's taking,
Okay.
it will be stupid of me not to want to get into it.
That's
and for
true.
a long time I was not there, but I realized, oh my God, how do I become an effective investor if I'm ignoring the world digital? So we have invested in that. And when we did that, it was meant for our in-house. But now we are actually
People are coming to consume it.
coming to consume
Wow.
and watch this space.
Oh, wow.
We believe
Oh,
we
wow.
have something to offer
So
today.
I can see a competitor right there. But I mean, I like the element of you brought. I like talking numbers. So when you say there's a probability of a 30-50% return on the business, then in a way it makes sense to rely on debt to fund your business.
Oh yes, I am one of those people who, and that's an important question, because there is a myth where people believe that they should not borrow and every borrowing is bad.
Please
I come from a
elaborate.
place where I believe there is good borrowing and bad borrowing, if I may state that.
All
For
right.
example, I'm heavily borrowed, but I'm not borrowed as Esther Muchemi.
Okay.
You get what I mean?
Yes.
It is not for public, it is not for private consumption, it is not for me to drive or to do whatever. And even if I do, my company would do that for me. You get what I mean?
Yes.
So my business will borrow, because I'll borrow at 14%, just to extend your
Okay.
conversation. I will borrow at 14%, but I will make 50%. And
So then you can.
So my borrowing doesn't bother me, because
Wow.
it's a calculated borrowing.
I like calculated borrowing is the key word.
Yes, absolutely. It's a calculated borrowing. You just don't borrow and you don't even know where you are taking your money to. There
Okay.
are people who borrow and then they don't even know what the business, don't have even a business plan, they haven't even walked the journey, and just they are using the money to pay their overheads.
Yes.
And by the time the overheads are paid, there is no money to multiply. That I would call long borrowing. Those people who borrow for credit cards, for argument's sake, I
Okay.
mean, just to put a lifestyle there. You notice serious investors,
They're very humble.
I was listening to Manu Shadaria the other day, who
Yes.
is my role model, and she
Wow.
said, I have only 5 suits and 5 shirts. And I'm
Wow.
saying, okay, I don't have 5, but I'm a bit extravagant there. However, point noted.
Simplicity
but
and
the way
humility.
you are outside does not define you. And the
Okay.
moment people will realize that what is very important is what is inside, and then try to project the greatness that is inside outside, then you will live a peaceful life and
Okay.
a successful entrepreneurship life.
Wow.
So don't go into for example, I told you, I left my big salaries to walk into the unknown. And the first thing I did was to tear my credit cards, because I knew, I mean, imagine having been able to have a salary beginning of the month. I always say, I don't know what happened by the 30th, because by 30th I had
The
none.
30th is
You get what
nothing.
I mean? You get what I mean?
Yes.
But it funded a lifestyle. And
Okay.
honestly, I can say that.
Yes.
It was just about funding a lifestyle. But when I became the entrepreneur I am today,
Yes.
I no longer fund lifestyle. And
Wow.
it doesn't bother me even
Wow.
one single moment.
Wow, this
Yeah.
is so powerful. I think
Yeah.
I'm also just struck by the amount of, because what I can do is I'm actually drawing parallels from your life as an entrepreneur, putting money, your time, your resources, your sweat into a business and actually coming this far, 18 years, and you're still diversifying.
Yes.
And some of the key things that I am pulling from this conversation, diversification is very important, calculated borrowing is also very important, and focus is also very important. I think as we're coming to the culmination of our show and trying to see, you have actually built a good business, you have a good foundation, you focused, and then you started going over and above your core business, but that's still an anchor to your existing empire. Madam Esther, what investment opportunities are out there? So if there's somebody who's looking at you and who's trying to listen, because I want to imagine that your tentacles are everywhere and you can see emerging trends. I don't know if that's something that you're able to help us understand. And also for people who are beginning to look at investments, because in this particular show, we focus on the Nairobi Securities Exchange, investing in the government, and really for people who are employed and don't have the time. I mean, I'm hearing you say that there could be more opportunity in investing in your own business if you have a clear roadmap than if you invest in other people's businesses.
Let's go, but that it has to be a combination.
A combination.
You can invest in your own business, you
Yes.
can invest into other people's business. Right now, let me tell you, it's interesting you asked that.
Yes.
Right now, before I came here, I had a young man in my office, and he wanted to get a job. He was looking for a job. He is very learned IT. He's now, I think, doing a master's. And I looked at his CV and I told him, you know what, I don't think I would have a position for you, but based on the conversation you're having, I can feel the entrepreneurship in you.
Okay.
As we had this conversation, she told me, yes, madam, there's this, I won't disclose for purposes of confidentiality.
Fair enough.
And I told him, you know what, that's a conversation I'd be willing to work with you. And this is what I told him. Go and do a business plan for me, a proposal. Okay. Come back after 1 week. Of course, the decision will not be made after 1 week. Come back with I am willing.
To work.
To work. Not only to work. I'll put my money long as the business makes sense. And for me, I have that clarity. In the next 5-7 years, I want to be able to invest in young men, women businesses, and I'm not investing in businesses that needs a lot of money. Why am I saying that? Because if I do that, I will not be duplicating my journey. Okay. I'll be praying somebody else's journey, and it's not my journey. So because I do believe, you start small. That's how we started.
Start small.
We walk a journey, and today we are where we are. So yes, for your information, yes, I'm willing to invest in that, so and I'm also investing in my own business. What was the question again? Oh no,
you've answered it perfectly. Thank you for that, because I was trying to get a sense of whether to invest in your business or in other people's businesses. But you say that there's an importance of a combination.
But about identifying what is it that you would. Let me tell you. Kenya, at the place we are today, I see opportunities everywhere.
Wow. Okay, I feel like
my limitation is not the opportunities.
Okay.
My limitation is probably because I'm only Esther.
All right.
And there is only so much that I can do. And one thing I've learned over time, again, very important, don't be greedy.
That's a good point.
Yes, I've seen great companies and great investors coming down, even in this country, just because they took much more than they could handle.
All right. Okay. Okay. I think let's leave it at that. Don't be greedy. If you're talking about investment, as you said, the basics don't change. You have to be able to look for a return. If you have to fund that return with debt, it's better to make a calculated borrowing decision. I think there's just a lot of information here from you as an investor. We certainly wish you all the very best with the Samchi group of companies. And for you as an investor on the NSC, it looks like the opportunity is not limited to the listed entities only or to the government. You could earn anything between 30 to 50% if you went out on your own, but it has to be a calculated risk, a calculated decision, and really a well thought out. You could succeed, you could fail, but the basics of investing never change. Today we took a look at the behavioral tendencies that you need to have as an investor. No greed, have greed, be willing to walk the journey, and it will make your character. We hope this was insightful for you. It certainly was for us. Thank you for joining us once again. We'll see you again tomorrow at 2:30. Good afternoon.